What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Welcome back to the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Now kick back, relax, and come take a ride with your boy. So, guys, we got the news a couple days ago that Sahnya Jah, the freshman forward out of South Carolina, who has been suspended for the team for some time, announced that she would be entering the transfer portal and taking her talents elsewhere. We heard a comment from Staley about the matter. She keeping it classy as always, but that was just one of the first dominoes to fall. Now, looking at this portal list, there are 37 players that led their teams in scoring last season in the portal. This season, I should say. This season ain't even over yet. 37 leading scorers in the portal. It's loaded. It's crazy right now. It's going to be a lot of power shifts in this college women's basketball game next season. I'm telling you right now. We're going to get into it, but before we do all that, before we dive in and analyze and look at some of the biggest names on this list, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for all the latest and the greatest, and join our memberships. We got that exclusive content coming daily, weekly, whenever you need it. Now, let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
So what we know regarding Jaah, we know she was suspended back on February 8th, and it was just explained to us as conduct detrimental to the team. Coach Staley didn't really give us much more than that, and we know she is one to protect her players. She even threw out the idea back there and the morale that, she had an opportunity to even work her way back onto the team. But that does not seem of interest for Jaah, and Staley had this to say: "It's unfortunate that her time with us was short, but we wish her the best in the next steps of her career." End quote. Keeping it classy. Now, we know Jaah, big forward, 6 foot, out of Virginia. She was ranked as a top 40 prospect in last year's class. This season, she only appeared in 16 games. She averaged 3.1 points and 2.02 rebounds. So not a huge loss for the number 1 seed that is 32-0 in the year. Let's be honest. They're going to miss her in the fact of, I like that she was still being a good teammate. She was in the student section during games. They were still embracing her. They will miss her personality. But her production, they're not going to miss her as the basketball player. This team is going to continue to roll on. They got Chloe Kitts, Ashlyn Watkins coming back, Skema Walker. The list goes on. Sanaya Fagan, another big of theirs that has just burst onto the scene. So that front court's going to be fine. They're not going to skip a beat. They're the number 1 overall team in the tournament for a reason. They're deep. They lose Camila Cardoso more than likely, and they may even get better next season. It's absolutely spooky. You still got Tack out there as well, the freshman that came in early and, is getting back healthy. There's just a lot of, it's a lot of size at UConn. It wasn't going to be much opportunity for Jaah, I don't think. Even if she missed a crucial time. She missed the postseason. It's hard to work your way back, not only working your way back on the team, but working your way back into this rotation. So it'll be interesting to see where she decides to take her talents. Being a Virginia native, maybe she looks towards the ACC, Virginia Tech, Virginia Tech, they're bringing in a really good big from overseas, but they could use some more size, losing Liz Kitley after this season. So, maybe something to watch. I don't know. I'm just saying, man. But looking at the rest of this portal, the names on this list, guys, we're talking about some real game changers. First off, the biggest name that we got to mention is Taliah Scott, the freshman out of Arkansas, averaged 22 points per game this past season. Florida native. I'm very interested to see where she ends up. Very, very much so. This is the biggest player in the transfer portal. She's young. She's an underclassman. Already proven that she's a walking bucket. Arkansas's best player this past season. Battled through some injuries, but 22 per game as a freshman? I'm even looking for teams like LSU to make a move here, man. I mean, they're gonna lose Haley Van Lith more than likely, so they could definitely use another scorer to put in that starting lineup. Why not Taliah, man? She's knows this program. She's played against them a couple times. Seen them a couple times. Even I don't know. She missed a few games, but she knows this program. She's familiar with them. She knows what LSU got going on. This would be a perfect play for the Tigers. I'm just saying. I mean, this would be an ideal play for them. Florida State need to be calling, seeing what's going on. Florida need to be calling. You know what I'm saying? But LSU, that was one of the first schools that came to mind. I was like, Kim Mulkey got to go get her out the portal. She got to go get her out the portal. They need another scorer to replace Haley Van Lith, someone that can come in. I mean, it looks like, to me, Flage is the obvious choice for the point guard to lead this team next season and be that lead playmaker. But as far as, like, having another scorer that can play on or off the ball, Taliah would fit really, really well in this lineup with LSU. She can shoot it. She can get to the basket. She's scrappy. She's fierce. And for a smaller guard, man, she can really finish. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see what she decides. But I think, we saw what Kim Mulkey did in the transfer portal last season. We saw the type of talent that she can go and grab. And it's hard to say no to a national champion. I'm just saying, and I imagine, Arkansas lost a couple players, so I imagine that Taliah would want to go somewhere where she could win, and make an immediate impact. And she would be etched into that starting lineup with LSU. I mean, she could fill that Haley Van Lith role perfectly, play more off ball, also just another shot creator. 22 points per game, one of the most exciting freshmen in the nation in this deep, historic, one of the greatest freshman classes we've seen. She is definitely one of those upper echelon guards and, maybe the most sought-after player in this entire transfer portal. But looking at the list, there's a lot of names that stick out. I mean, the portal is crazy right now. Now, just looking at this list, all these players led their team in scoring this past season, man. And there are some really, really talented players on this list. And I'm just excited to see where a lot of them end up. So we're talking about, first off, one of the biggest players, Caitlin Chen. Conference Player of the Year. 5'9" senior, averaged 15.1 points per game, 4.2 assists this past season with Princeton. I'm definitely looking at her as one of the most sought-after players as well in this class. This transfer class is just incredible, guys. I mean, it's deep. There's a lot of big names and a lot of production that is going in here, man. I mean, you look at Anaya Hubbard out of Florida Atlantic is going to be another big guard She's 5'8". I don't mean like literally a big guard, but another big guard prospect. Another name, a sophomore that averaged 17 points per game, 5 rebounds for Florida Atlantic last season. Another guard coming. It was some serious talent coming out of the Ivy League. Along with Chen, they also have Kyla Jones, a 5'9" guard who averaged 17 points per game for Brown. A lot of teams could use some of that firepower in the backcourt that are going to be rebuilding. I'm looking at, some of the smaller schools, but Lanaya Randall out of Southern Illinois, 18 points per game, 18.3 points per game, 5'11" forward, just another bucket getter that's played at a smaller school and maybe looking at a bigger stage. Another big-time scorer, we mentioned Arkansas, but Arkansas State has some players that are getting up out of there as well. Izzy Higginbottom, 5'7" guard, a junior, averaged 22.2 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3.7 assists. Gotta be a hot name if you need a point guard out there that can come and run the show, but also fill it up. Leaving Arkansas State, also Lauren Pendleton, a 5'9" guard. They lose their backcourt. She's a junior, averaged 12 points per game for them. And Taryn Ward out of Georgia State is going to be a big name as well. 5'11" guard, a senior who averaged 22 points and 9 rebounds per game, 9.1 rebounds per game this season. I think she's going to be another huge name, a player that has proven to get better every season, a player that can flat out fill it up, and a player that I think is going to be on a lot of players' radars because of her versatility at 5'11", her ability to fill it up from all 3 levels, but also grab 9 rebounds a game at the guard position. Looking at some more of the underclassmen, though, I think there, because we mentioned a bunch of upperclassmen that they're definitely going to make an impact and do their thing. I'm also looking at Michaela Scarlett, the 5'10 senior out of Xavier, who averaged 13.2 points per game, as well as another name. But looking at some of the underclassmen, though, Kayleen Smickle, 6-foot guard out of Rutgers, averaged 16 points, 5 rebounds per game last season. Definitely going to be an underclassman to watch. We mentioned Taliah Scott as well. Sailor Poffenbarger as well, another 6'2 guard, averaged a double-double last season, 10.2 points per game as well as 11.2 rebounds. Definitely a lot of versatility. Somebody that could definitely use her in the lineup, playing the 2 or the 3. Just anybody that's averaging a double-double with rebounds as a guard, I mean, come on, the toughness speaks for itself. Anaya Hubbard, I think, will be a huge name as well. 5'8 guard out of Florida Atlantic. Averaged 17.2 points per game last season, or this past season. Last season for her, this past season. Averaged 17.2 points per game for Florida Atlantic out there with them Owls. And I think she's going to be a guard that moves up as well and gets to a bigger program and gets some more eyes on her. Gracie Merkel, a 6'6 sophomore, a center, averaged a double-double for Bellarmine. At 6'6, just a sophomore, she averaged 15.1 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. Just a size, you need it. And I know there are some teams, UConn especially, that could use that size and 15 points and 11 rebounds per game. The UConn Huskies could definitely use that type of production because they're going to have to be replacing Aaliyah Edwards. So maybe that's a player they take a big look at. Some other names just looking through it, though. Esmeralda Morales out of Portland State. Guard, a junior, averaged 16.5 points per game last season. Another big-time scorer. Suma Hansen out of Sacramento State, 6'2 forward, with just a freshman last season, averaged 14, 8, and 8, 14 and 8.8 rebounds. I don't know how she got overlooked in high school. But they're just some big names. They're bigs if you need them, versatile forwards like we mentioned. There's another Kennedy Jackson, 6'4 forward, averaged 14 points per game, 5.4 rebounds out of Charleston Southern. So there's a lot of versatility. If you need a point guard, there's guards. If you need a big, if you need a wing that can score, that can defend, you need a big that can rebound and block shots and anchor the paint, you can find whatever you need. You can completely rebuild your team in the transfer portal. We've never seen a portal like this before. I mean, this is crazy right now. 37 leading scorers from last season in the portal, looking to find new homes. That's a whole lot of production that's in that portal that's going to be up for grabs. And you know, with these new coaches, carousels, and you know, they're jumping their job hunting. We're seeing a lot of new faces. A lot of coaches got fired. More of them going to be getting hired. And they're definitely going to be, this late in the game, you're not dependent on freshmen. They're definitely going to be active in that portal. I know whoever takes over the Kentucky job is definitely going to be getting active in that portal. And that's a place, you know, you're looking at them, you're looking at maybe a Vanderbilt. Those are some programs that definitely have the facilities and the funds to, you know, get that NIL money and pull some of these top players. I know LSU will be in the running. UConn has done a good job in the past in the portal. Maybe they're looking for a big to replace Aaliyah Edwards if the Sarah Strong sweepstakes don't rule in their favor. You know, I think North Carolina, you know, they could be looking to add some depth as well. LSU not only looking for a starter to replace Haley Van Lith and possibly Angel Reese too, but they definitely got to add some depth to that bench. And then we're seeing certain teams like Arkansas who lost like their top 3 players that are going to be in complete rebuild mode. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to look at, but I just wanted to go over a few of the names that stuck out, some stats, some numbers, and just everything in between, man. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about the situation. You know, we're going to see even more players continue to hop in. So this was just part 1 that we're looking at right now. But y'all holler at your boy. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments. That's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. Until next time, hey, we out.